Welcome to another Spin the Wheel, and we are still on Ninjago. This will be the last segment. My next character corner will be another Ninjago character, but this will be the last major type of segment with a Ninjago theme. And joining me today is Keith.
Hey everybody.
Yep, he's back, and we decided to do a little one based on some suggestions I had on some headcanons, theories, and things like that. So all of this is going to be just for fun. It really doesn't mean anything. It's probably not really even analysis, quote unquote. It's nothing too important. It's just kind of for fun to get ideas out there that we've had and watching the shows. It's once again, all of this is based within the first 10 seasons of the show, and basically it's probably a good thing to watch if you're a good, like, if you've seen Ninjago a lot, you know, if you're new or haven't seen it, come back and watch this later on. So anyway, I think that covers everything I wanted to say preliminary. So anything you can think of? Okay, awesome. So I have 3 prompts because I think these are 3 areas that are kind of holes in Ninjago, areas with not a lot of explanation. So I thought these up and I was like, okay, me and Keith will explain our theories and ideas on these 3 topics that are kind of holes in the Ninjago universe. So, okay, my first prompt that I wrote down was the headcanons, theories, and ideas and thoughts and stuff on the powers of the ninja, the elemental powers, and how they work, how they're passed down, all of that. It's kind of open-ended, but how do they work? Like, what do you think? You can start, Keith, or do you want me to start?
You start. I don't quite know where to start unless the other ones I have more ideas.
Right, I showed him my list beforehand. Okay, anyway. So, I do actually have a thought on this. It's stated, I don't know, they talk a lot about more of the Elemental Masters thing as you go into, like, I think season 4 and season 7, they go into that a lot. And I think at some point in season 5, when Neo was talking, they said something along the lines of, it can skip a generation of power. That's why Neo wasn't sure she had an elemental power. But I did wonder if that means, and this is just probably my science brain talking, in a fictional universe that is kind of silly for me to put science into, but anyway, I was like, what if these are recessive genes? And if you don't know genetics very much, a recessive gene is a gene that you need, like, if you do Punnett squares, it's basically like you need 2 recessive genes so that trait will be showed up, and that can be a bad thing if it's like a disease, but, you know, in the case of a power, if it's tied to the recessive gene, I was thinking maybe that's why it skips a generation, and then why Kai's family, both of their kids end up with powers, because that would mean Kai's parents would both have to have recessive genes, and then their kids would then also carry that, like, they wouldn't have a choice. So if they had like another kid, that kid would have also had to have had a power or something like that. And I don't know. That was just a stupid little idea of mine that I had. It could, obviously, it's probably dumb. But anyway, that was my thought on their powers. As far as where they came from, I don't know if, like, all these people are, like, I don't know. Like, it's kind of like the first Ninjitsu Master is supposed to, like, have brought these powers to the universe, and I don't understand that very much. Like, did he have more kids? Or are those, like, did he have siblings? And those were, like, the ones where the other powers come from? Or something? Like, I don't know. These are just all my thoughts. I was like, maybe they were his friends, or his siblings, or maybe they were his children, or...
I thought it made it sound more like they were like his friends because they were working with his sons.
That's
but
true.
Not like they were brothers, right? They
Right.
were working with them like they were like not family, but more like their friends. And I thought maybe they were with this, like, the first Spinjitzu Master. They came after he had created the
Or does he have the
Ninjago,
power to
or
even give powers? Now I'm sitting here thinking, wait a minute, was that like his power? Could he give power? Maybe.
yeah, he could
Or
have even
he
given
could
it
have
to
maybe brought friends from the first realm. That's a point. I just don't know. Well, what are your thoughts? So those are kind of wrap up my thoughts. Anyway, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I totally agree with you 100% on those. But I don't know how that all works, and it's funny that there's only there's still not that many with powers.
Yeah, it's not very common.
Like, I mean, you do have, when the tournament you saw, there was still a good bit, and there may even be more that didn't come to the tournament, but
highly likely, actually.
highly likely. But then those ones didn't even show up in the time twins when they were showing the previous battle. None of those had come up there. It was only the ones we had seen.
That is true.
So we don't know if there's more.
I need to rewatch that because I tried
they went back and it
really
was all
hard
the
to
same.
pay attention. I was mostly trying to figure out something for the next one because I really have an investment in like this one character that I'm just like, where did you come from? And I will explain that next. But yeah, I was trying to focus on like some of the other characters' family members or like powers. So I didn't really look and try to see like, oh, was there like a element? I don't even know. Like, what's another element they have? Like, I mean, they don't have a bender of like, I don't.
They had air, speed.
Well, actually, you know what? We don't see where Moro's power came from. Like, he didn't have a.
You know, you're right. Nobody was
See,
represented in
I
the
need to
first
talk
battle.
about Moro later, but you know what? We can just go off on this tangent because this is just headcanon. Like, is Moro's parents like rogue or something? Like, did they?
Probably.
Because none of them showed up at the tournament.
And none of them were. Well, at the tournament it would have been Moro because
It
none
would
of
have
them,
been more
because that was that generation that went
Unless
to
he
the
was.
tournament. Yeah, unless they said, which it doesn't make it sound
It
like.
doesn't. He was an orphan. I don't know.
But his parents would have been in that battle probably against the time twins in the beginning.
You'd think, but I don't think they show up.
Unless they were with
Just
who
rogue or something.
rogue or with the time twins. These are headcanons that may eventually be true. It'd be cool. It'd be cool if they came true.
I think
but,
they, like, at some point Moro just, like, is, once again, just whoosh,
Forgotten.
washed up by the fandom. Like, you don't really just don't think of him again. Which I think he's interesting. I honestly would seriously sit down and watch a whole season just based on Moro. No joke. I want to talk
Moro's
about
cool.
him later. So yes, in this, we're probably gonna both end up saying some, like, character things that I'll go into detail later on. But yeah, I have to give him a character corner sometime because he's great. But yeah, that's another tangent too. I guess now there will be 4 things like Moro. Like, where did you come from? Because it is weird because the powers, despite the fact that they are held with such high regard in this universe and they are kind of like very, like, I mean, they're incredibly important and they're the focus of more than one season. There really isn't a clear why, like, where they came from or anything like that. Like, you'd think they'd have something where, like, I mean, they came from the dragons, or the first Ninjago Master had the power to give power, or something like that. Like, they don't ever say that. Like, at all. I don't know.
No, they don't ever say how that works, but
Like, did the dragons
like you said,
gift it to the first Ninjago Master, and he was able to gift it to other people that were his friends?
don't know. But it would make sense because their powers are tied to the dragon's powers in the first realm. What season was that? I don't know.
Like 9?
9?
I think.
Yeah. But it was really cool because they were tied to the dragon's powers. Every power
And there was
tied
a
to
wind
it.
dragon. They
And
did
there-
hunt down a wind dragon, so maybe.
Because that actually would make a lot of sense if the dragons were somehow tied to how they got the powers, but somehow, I don't know how that would all fit in.
See, I don't know because it's not said, but that's just a thought. Now, I'm actually kind of leaning towards that tangent now, like, because we know Firstborn has all the powers. And she likes the first Ninjago Master, or liked him anyway. She
Well, she
adopted
still does like his kid.
Yeah, I mean, she likes Wu, but I'm saying, like, she basically adopted him like her child, basically. Which I honestly still don't even know how that worked, but okay. But anyway, so she adopted him. Maybe she even gifted those powers to other people to help protect him? That possible? Or maybe to protect his kids that he ended up having with some unknown person. We never see the first Ninjutsu Master's wife ever.
No.
You know, who was she? And
Or did
honestly,
he create his kids?
another headcanon.
Because he created everybody else.
Okay, maybe he has the power to create,
Maybe he
and maybe
created the
he
power.
just made his kids, and maybe he just made the powers. Okay, now
That
I'm
would
off.
probably make
You know
more
what?
sense than
Now
all of
I-
our other weird tangents. And I don't know. It probably actually makes more sense than some of the other
You know what? I actually wonder that now because we know
things.
Garmadon ended up with the power to destroy. We learned later. Surprise! He has a new power, which was actually kind of cool. I kind of wish that had been like something they did early on. You know, I guess it wouldn't have made sense for that plot, but for later on, I was like, the stakes just got higher, man. That's cool. But you know, maybe that's why, like, maybe Wu then inherited the power to create, which is like he doesn't use it much because he'd rather see the ninja suffer or something. But his dragon, I could see being like a creator or life dragon, so maybe that's his power. Garmadon doesn't have a dragon. He needs
He's
a
right.
dragon. I want to see what his dragon would look like. Would it have like 8 legs?
Be more like a centipede dragon. That's what I can picture, like a purple centipede dragon with wings and.
Or 6 legs or 8 legs? Like, I wonder, like, would it have multiple legs?
Or it'd be
Because
like a
of Garmadon?
snake dragon.
A snake.
Like a slitherwing.
Purple.
Wait, no.
How to drink your dragon's leaking over. Ah! Slither
Um,
wings are just, they don't have legs.
I know. Does
Okay,
it
let's
have
not
wings?
go down that let's not go down that tangent. We'll save that for another time. But yes. So I guess if we covered everything, I guess those are our thoughts
Oh,
on
we've
the
way
book.
overcovered.
I think we've way over covered that. That's probably like someone at this point is probably like, just stop already. Anyway, that was just for fun. Okay, so those are our thoughts on their powers. That's literally how me and Keith just talk on a regular basis. Like, we literally will pause a show and just be like, doing that.
Just talking
So you
about-
just heard a little piece of us analyzing shows over detailed for no apparent reason. But let's do it again. In fact, let's do it 2 more times.
Yeah. Alright, so next. What's
So
the next
next I have is Cole's family. And this one drives me nuts because every single character pretty much, you know their backstory to some degree. Like, you know their parents or their grandparents or something like that, where you like, not their grandparents, but like, you know where their powers came from, or it's heavily implied they came from somewhere. Like, you know, we know Kai's parents, we know Jay was adopted, which made sense in a lot of hindsight because he looks nothing like his parents and acts nothing like his parents. And
Spoiler alert.
yeah, which I actually, that's my next prompt is Jay's mom, because I have questions. But anyway, we have, you know, Zane is like, we know like somehow the Ice Master gifted him that power because he, like, in season, I think it's 8. I think it's season 8 they say that, or they imply it.
Which then would help with our theory of the gifting.
Right, which I do think, yeah, you know what, you actually have a point.
That would
So if someone
support our
can gift a
theory.
power, which seems to be able to be a thing that can happen, then yeah, that actually does make sense. That actually does make sense. I'm gonna go with that as the first headcanon, is that the first Ninjutsu Master is like some kind of special, like, has the power of creating or something, which I think is pretty much confirmed, but he made Ninjago, maybe made his kids, I don't know, and made the powers and gifted them to people, or made the people with the powers or something like that. That's I think, is, what do you think?
I agree with that. I think that sums up the first one.
Okay, that's the first one. So then that's going to be like okay, we agreed upon that, as I think that's what we'll agree upon for now. Cole's parents. So basically, what I was saying is every single one you know, but Cole we absolutely know nothing about. We know his mom is dead, so we know he had a mom, and we know his dad is absolutely not related to any master at all. He's just different. He is not where Cole got his power from, in my opinion.
He is a blacksmith. A royal blacksmith.
He's like a dancer, royal blacksmith, if you don't know. Like, he sings and dances. But he just doesn't have that sort of presence of power or anything, and it doesn't even seem like he's like, oh my goodness, my son's a ninja, what? So it doesn't even seem like something in his heritage that he would understand. Like, you know, I don't know. I have a hard time buying that Cole's dad is where he gets his power from. I kind of wonder if it's more his mom. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with the mom thing, but...
And I think it's either his uncle or his grandfather that was in that battle.
Who did we see with the power?
It was a guy. It was definitely a guy, unless it was a girl disguised as a guy, which happens a lot in fiction, especially like really old fiction. Like
really?
Some of those like really old stories, you know, like that happens a lot. Like I think there's like quite a few like tales in Greek mythology and stuff where that happens. But anyway, so that is a possibility. Maybe his mom was disguised or something, but there were a lot of other girls in the battle, so I don't understand why she would want to disguise herself. I mean, Faith wasn't disguised, but I don't think that that's the case. Like Faith from season 9, I don't think Cole's mom would feel a need to be disguised because Jay's mom was there whacking people out of the sky with lightning bolts, and Maya was there drowning people. And I don't see why she'd want to hide. It doesn't make sense to me, at least.
That doesn't make sense. But it could have even been gifted to Cole.
It could have been gifted to Cole, but it doesn't seem like it. Because it is a guy there, and he seemed old enough to be your grandfather. Like, he could have been. He'd be a very, like, young grandpa, but he could have had, like Cole's mom could have been, like, a teenager or something at that point.
Could have even been skipped a generation.
Yeah, I'm wondering
and
if
that's
Cole
why
was a
they
case of
wouldn't
skipped
even
generation.
know. Because they definitely wouldn't know Cole would have that, and then Cole has it, and they're like, wait, what?
Especially because it wasn't, like, developed till later in life, and she would have been dead by then.
Yeah.
So it's like she probably would have just assumed, oh, he didn't have it. Or, or whatever. You know what I mean? This is just something he had. I didn't get it. I don't know. And it could be that it was his uncle. It's like maybe his mom had a brother. Or even his dad had a brother in that case. But I still don't feel like that one's right. I still feel like it's on his mom's side. It's like the most enigmatic part of his family.
It would make more sense.
Like, we don't have a name. We don't even have, like, a picture. Nothing. Like, we know nothing about his backstory. And we should. He should have had, like, a season with some kind of development. Which I'll talk about later, too, when I get to Cole. But he needed some kind of, like, backstory, I think, in my opinion. But anyway. So I guess those are just my thoughts. I don't know that I think I can even come to less of a conclusion on something like that because there's really no information to draw from. I guess if I had to come up with one, I say, personally, I think that's his grandfather in the battle. I think Cole's mom was that guy's daughter as a teenager.
It skipped her.
Yes.
And then Cole had it. I think you're totally right. You're totally right.
I personally think that's my opinion on it. But I could be wrong, and it's fine if you don't agree with me. It really is. It's just thoughts. That's my opinion. So anyway, moving on from Cole, we have Jay's mom. And I don't even know why she intrigues me so much, but I just have questions. Like, she seems like such a nice person. She seems just like Jay, except she's a girl, and she's so sweet, and I liked her.
You know what?
Like, in the few scenes, she's just like, oh, come on, not more baggage. I'm like, oh my goodness, it's a girl, Jay.
Yeah, and she was like, and then, well, that's when you find out that she was going to go out with the, what's his name?
Is it Cliff Gordon or something
yeah.
like that?
The singer, and then they had Jay.
Not singer, he's a actor.
Actor, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, I know, too many actors, singers, dancers.
It's crazy.
Bleh.
Too many, it's too
high-profile people for these kids that are wanting to lay low as Ninja, like, seriously. Like, I'm the son of a movie star, but I also run in the shadows.
Yeah, you're right. But then they, like, why would they get rid of, why would they get rid of Jay and he would be adopted by this other family?
Like, why would they drop him off in
I
a junkyard?
actually may have to for that.
Go on. You say your theory.
I had a thought of this one.
Go for it.
My thought is, what if his mom died?
I agree with that.
And his dad is acting and has no time, right?
There are orphanages.
Yep. Exactly.
But why did he drop him off in a junkyard?
Did they drop him off, or did they adopt him, like, from a dog?
Oh, you know what? I thought they said they found him on their doorstep.
I don't...
Didn't they say that in season 6? They're like, we found you on our doorstep with this key. Conveniently stashed it on you.
Yeah, but then the question is, was that actually what happened, or was that, what's his name?
Or is it a note? I can't remember if it's a key or a note, but basically they're just like, oh yeah, you were totally fine on our doorstep. Like, I don't know, maybe that was a lie.
Or maybe that was, what's his name? Tricked it. Nauticon.
That is true, but we do know that had to be the truth.
He just revealed it.
Yeah, I think that was true. I know, that whole season gets kind of crazy just because it's like, what is real anymore? And that's... I have things to say about Nauticon too, and I'll get to those later, I promise. I have a lot to say about him, actually. I don't really know, because I think everything that happened in that season is real. Because had Jay said that, I fully think Nauticon would have killed his parents and not hesitated to do so. Nauticon's not that kind of villain. He's not one that would just, be like, oh, never mind, I'm just gonna circumvent that. Like, he wouldn't do that. He would just go ahead and go with it. I think he just revealed the truth, and then when everything was reversed later on, I think that it was just like the memory was washed away from his parents telling him that, and then obviously, I see, that's the other thing too, is, did Jay's dad not die then? That's the question I have. Is Cliff Ward still dead in that universe? Because that's what's revealed to him. Like, did Jay still get the event, like, afterward get that house and the boat and everything like that? Or did he still get an inheritance? Did he actually die?
I think his dad is dead.
I mean, he doesn't have any moments with him. Like, you'd think that Jay would run up, or maybe he doesn't want to, I don't know. But I wonder then, is he still dead in the universe? Did he die later in the universe? Or is he still alive because Nauticon didn't kill him? I don't know. I do think it's true, though, that Jay was adopted. I do think that's true. He had too good of a family not to be. Come on. He had to have been adopted. They're great parents. But I wonder if I don't even know. I don't think Jay's mom has a name, so it's just Jay's mom, I guess, is what I'm gonna keep calling her.
I thought she had a name mentioned, but
I don't think so. I think I don't know. I don't think she does.
I don't know.
But I think I guess if I had to come up with some kind of thought on that, I guess I would say I think obviously they had a kid, and it seems kind of odd to me because there's almost none of the first Masters left alive, and I wonder, even if it's never stated, this is, I guess, going in a further headcanon, and I don't know what you think about this. I really wonder if the Time Twins actually, or not the Time Twins, because technically Acronix was still in the past or in the future. I don't know where he went. He went somewhere else, or stuck in a paradox realm. I don't know. He didn't age, so he was somewhere.
He jumped ahead.
Did he jump ahead, or did he jump back, or did he jump into the vortex? I don't know what happened.
No, because
time is weird.
Remember, the one stayed in the time.
Yes,
and aged, and then the other one jumped ahead to the time that they had agreed on.
Right.
So the one had aged all that time.
But he seemed to understand the passage of time, so I wonder if he was held in some kind of paradox situation.
But he made it sound like it was instant.
But yet he was just oh, you're old now, cool.
I think maybe they had agreed to do that, or maybe they had thought, I don't know, maybe they had some kind of something before they had thought about it, or he had planned to go that far ahead, or something.
I don't know.
Because they had a meeting place. He knew
yeah, they
to
did.
find
That's
him.
what I mean. I'm saying, it seems almost like he.
But they also knew where to meet Wu at a certain time, and Wu knew where to meet him. But what makes you wonder if they had already agreed on something ahead of time.
It's possible. They may have. But anyway, I guess what I'm trying to talk about is Crux. So that's also another theory. Crux, I really wonder, and I don't know, I can't confirm this, but he needed Kai's parents, and he took them captive. He needed them. Makes sense. But every other master wouldn't serve a purpose for him, and I really wonder, and this is kind of dark, and maybe that's why it's not part of there, but I'm like, did he go around and just finish off all the other masters, except for the Ice Master, obviously, because he found refuge, but it almost sounded to me like he was either sick or wounded when he showed up at Zane's place. You know, like, you know what I mean? So maybe he was hurt or something, that's why he went there and then died there, or at least stopped by for a little while enough to gift his power to someone. But I really wonder if Crux went around and just took out
I could
different,
see him doing that.
Like, to just get rid of all the elemental
And that
masters.
would make sense then again why Jay's mom died.
Right, and I even wonder too,
So
could
suddenly.
he have been taking out some of the kids? Is that why they were all in hiding? Because
You know what? Smart.
Because I wonder, because he left Kai and Nia alone for some reason. But, you know, I don't know, maybe he actually did like them enough. I really don't know about that one. But it does seem odd to me because everyone seems in hiding and scared of their powers. Like, it doesn't state it, but I really wonder if there's more going on with that. Like, was he killing off the original masters and then on top of it, killing their kids? And then it would make more sense to me that if Jay's mom got killed at some point and then Jay's dad was like, I'm high profile, I can't have this kid with me, and just tried to put him somewhere. Maybe he wasn't that fatherly and just gave him to a junkyard to be like the lowest profile ever. Like, you know, because being in a junkyard would really be like, no one's gonna look at a kid raised there. Doesn't matter what they look like or act like. It doesn't, you know, no one's gonna look at them and be like, aha, there he is. You know, so I wonder if that was going on. At least that's my theory, and I think maybe Jay's mom died, or maybe she even dropped him off because she knew it was dangerous and then died. Because I don't think she's alive anymore, which is a shame because she'd be interesting. I'd really love to see her do something. I think it'd be fun to have a season where they actually just go back. Like, even though I love the main cast of characters, I really do, but it'd be so much fun to maybe even just have a special episode where they went back and just had an episode of that battle. Because they refer to it so much. I'd love to have just like a 2-hour-long extended episode where we
More like a
go
movie.
through more like a movie, but like just an extended episode.
Because we don't want it.
Or just 4 episodes like season 10 did, where they go back and they do the battle, and then the Anaconda warrior leaders getting exiled, and then they go into the Time Twin battle, and then just do like a short epilogue of what happened after that. And please make Crux more of a bad guy than he ended up like being until 40 years later or something like that. I think that would be so cool, and it would make a lot of sense because Crux would actually have a grudge against the Masters. But I don't know. What are your thoughts on all that?
I agree with that.
You agree with that?
I think it'd be really cool to see that, but I don't think they are now because they've moved on.
Yeah, they've
feel
moved
like-
on, and all
but-
the new seasons are.
It sounds like that. We haven't watched them yet because they haven't
They haven't come out on our thing, but even so, I've seen like previews and pictures, and I'm like, oh, this is nothing like my baby. Stop!
But they also
You should have stopped at season 10.
but they also they changed it after the movie came out. That's just totally different. But they did change them between that time. The TV shows, like the theme and some of the characters, a little bit changed. But maybe it's more like that. Probably not. But
I don't know. I do not like what I've seen of
Me
like
neither.
any of the trailers, the clips, and the pictures I've seen. I'm really not a fan. It feels very different to me and very disconnected from the first 10 seasons. I feel like the first 10 seasons wrapped up well. As far as it really had like a nice tie in it, and you were crying. And I was.
because it's over.
I know, because it felt like one whole piece to me. You know, and I thought that was sweet.
Because they ended it and they were reminiscing about all their times and they were
Keep it together, man. But anyway, that's why I.
But it was sad because they ended the.
Plus, I actually think sticking with a set of parameters actually helps with analysis because I mean they haven't stopped writing and making Ninjago seasons yet, so I do think it would be hard to be like, well, I don't know what the next season would have. So it's sticking with the first 10 seasons really does help at least give me a boundary to work in as well. So that's nice. But anyway, I think that wraps up our headcanons. So as a quick summary, the Ninjago, the first Benjitsu master has creator powers, and that's where the powers came from in general. Right? We agreed on that one. And Cole's grandfather was on the battle, and his daughter gave, like, it skipped a generation, and Cole's mom just gave him his powers. That's my headcanon. And then Jay's mom died because of Crux, and Jay was in danger because of Crux. And then they just dropped him off in a junkyard, his dad or his mom, because it would have kept Jay in a high profile being anywhere with them. And by putting him in a junkyard, he would have been in, like, the best situation to live, because all the other ones were dying as well. So anyway, I think that sums up our thoughts. Anything else to add before we wrap up this long episode?
Nothing I think of.
Yep. This has been a little bit rambly, but this is how him and I, like, just go through and talk through stuff for fun.
Hopefully y'all like it, but...
Yeah. Hopefully this was interesting and fun. I thought it would be a fun little, thing to do. But anyway, have a great week, guys, and we'll see y'all later. Bye!